Creeplings, second edition of Is It Christmas? This is not a horror movie, but this is a hotly debated Christmas topic, is it not? Hubs is joining me again. Say hi.
Hi.
So today we're discussing
Die Hard.
He's more of the expert on this one. This was actually my first time sitting and watching Die Hard from beginning to end in one sitting. I've always caught bits and pieces of it on cable growing up, and as an adult, never actually took the time to sit down and watch it. It was one hell of a ride. I will give you that.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Just a quick... I got different setup for my notes, so hopefully I won't be so...
Everywhere
lately. So this was directed by John McTiernan, based on a book called Nothing Lasts Forever by Roderick Thorpe. If you are a fan of Dominic Noble, he did a Lost in adaptation on this that I highly recommend. Very interesting in how it changed over. But this one's got a names list. We've got Bruce Willis, and I believe one of his first action films, and it definitely made him an action star. Mm-hmm. We have Alan Rickman as the bad guy. Alan Rickman. What can I not say about Alan Rickman?
We like
Alan Rickman. Again, one of my favorite character actors. I'm a character actor whore. I'll admit it.
He's not a character actor. He's a thespian.
Ooh, okay, he's a thespian. That's a really fancy character actor. I think that those are of the British strain, correct?
Usually, yeah.
And then Bonnie Bedelia. There's also a small part by Reginald VelJohnson.
Yeah.
Yo TV Dad, Mr. Carl Winslow. How many times did we figure out he played a cop?
4.
So, yeah, he's played a cop at least 4 times that I'm aware of. William Atherton. I remember him most from Ghostbusters playing the EPA asshole, Dickless. And he plays a really asshole reporter in this one. So that's 2 people from Ghostbusters, because Reginald VelJohnson was a cop in the original Ghostbusters. So, cop number 1. There are, like, all of the thugs, I recognize them as working stuntmen. One of them is, I believe, is Ao Leung, and he played Genghis Khan in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. And every time I saw him, I kept thinking, Genghis Khan want a Twinkie?
And then he goes and eats the chocolate in the display case.
You'll have to excuse me, I'm getting over a chest cold. So I may have a few coughs here and there. But nothing will keep this train from going. I saw that look.
I hoped you did.
Okay, so this was released in 1988. Filmed entirely in Fox Plaza over the course of, I believe, from November of 87 to March of 88 in LA. So, basic story, we have New York cop John motherfucking McClane, played by Bruce Willis, flying from New York to LA to visit his wife and kids, because she took a job with, Nakatomi is actually the name of the company as well.
Nakatomi, yeah.
Nakatomi. Took a job with them. They moved her out there. She's doing real well. Their marriage is on the rocks. I mean, unfortunately, in these action films, what cop's marriage is not on the rocks? This is a trope, correct?
Yes.
He gets picked up by this limo driver, Argyle. My sweet summer child, Argyle. Although he does end up coming in handy at the end, if I remember to mention it, which I probably will. So he's flying on Christmas Eve to meet her at her job because their office building is having a Christmas party. I'm not missing anything.
How dated the movie is.
Well, we'll get to that. I'm just saying storyline-wise, I think I'm still on track, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to agree with him. When you realize this movie was made in 1988. The high fashion, the hair, the electronics, all 1988 dated.
The fact you can carry a gun on an airplane.
The fact you can carry a gun on an airplane.
And smoke just about anywhere.
And smoke anywhere. Yep. This is a very 80s movie. Sometimes I miss the good old days. But I was only 8 years old, so for me at that point, the good old days was, am I going to get the Dr. Pepper filled gum? Or am I going to buy the,
Big League Chew.
The Big League Chew? Or am I going to get the little gum cigarettes that if you blew powdered sugar came out of them? Those were the good old days for me. So, I mean, yeah, they're having this Christmas party. All great. Yeah. The Christmas party gets hijacked. Literally. By Hans Gruber. Played just excellently by Alan Rickman. I kind of forgot how cute he was when he was younger. I'm so used to everyone, Snape. And oily, greasy Snape. Doesn't really do it for me, but Hans Gruber almost did. Girl. And whoever did his suits, bravo to the costume department on that, because they fit very, very well. As a fashion girl and a costume girl, I totally appreciated that. So, kudos to you. They're there to break into a bank vault, but they make it look like they're taking hostages to free
up terrorists around the world.
Yeah, it's an interesting cover. John manages to, I don't want to say sneak out. He's basically running around this half-finished high-rise the entire night, trying to rescue hostages, kill bad guys, blow shit up.
And get the police down
there. Now, Reginald Vell Johnson's character, Officer
Al Powell.
Officer Powell, is one of the last people sent to check up on what's going on because McClane managed to use the emergency radio channel to contact the police, and he had tried to trip a fire alarm, and these guys are slick. They had most of this shit covered, but then John throws one of the terrorists' bodies on Al's car, and, well, can't ignore it any longer. So Al's our link between what's going on in Nakatomi Plaza and out in the world. He's our bridge, and that was a very well written character for him. Mm-hmm. Would you say so?
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got. It's just chaos. It is the most beautiful chaos ever on Christmas Eve. So let's see. We have the first terrorist takedown. He accidentally kills him. They're fighting on the stairs, and I think he breaks his neck on the stairs. I don't think John meant to kill this guy. Okay, it's debatable. I don't think John meant to kill him. Aaron's not on
I think he probably did, because he has to reduce their numbers.
Yeah. Either way, he's on the one of the building levels that's still under construction. Sends this guy's body down on a rolling chair with a Santa hat and written on the shirt, "I have a machine gun."
Ho,
ho, ho, ho. Which starts off this just lovely cat and mouse game of Gruber trying to figure out who McClane is, why he's there, and how to keep him from stopping him, and McClane's trying to figure out who Gruber is, who the guys are, and why they're there. All the while worrying about his wife being held hostage at the party. Thank God their kids weren't there. That's all I have to say about that. So, yeah, it was... And then poor Argyle is still parked in the parking garage when everything goes on lockdown. Is sitting there getting drunk in the limousine. And listening on the CB after a while. He's kind of your little
comic... He sees it on the TV and then he switches on the CB.
Yeah, he's your kind of comic relief a little bit. But in the end, he helps get one of the bad guys. So...
He takes care of Theo.
He takes care of Theo, who is their tech guy. Which, nicely enough, was not a skinny white dude. It's a skinny black dude. But usually, back at this point in time, you had your David Carradine looking character from Revenge of the Nerds was your tech guy. It was nice to see them start to branch out.
Wasn't David Carradine?
No, not David. It was
Robert.
Robert Carradine. Sorry. Robert Carradine was in Revenge of the Nerds. David Carradine was Kung Fu. They're all brothers, though. But so it was nice to see that kind of change starting. But, yeah. Alan Rickman is the villain. Yes, please. Bruce Willis blowing shit up.
Yes.
The running gag of no shoes.
That comes into play later.
That comes into play later. So, like I said, you're more familiar with this movie than I am. Tell me your thoughts. Tell everybody your thoughts, baby.
I think the bad guys had everything really well planned out to the point where they knew what the police were going to do as they were doing it. And the police, every one of them is a macho, chumped up
Yeah, isn't the police
alpha male.
Isn't the police chief played by the same dickhead who played the principal in the Breakfast Club?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, and then we have the FBI come in, and the FBI do everything by the book too. But we did get Robert Davi. Not my favorite Robert Davi. My favorite Robert Davi is my first Robert Davi, which is one of the Fratelli brothers. But this was a funny Robert Davi. He's another one of those character actors that you're like, I know this guy.
Yeah.
So, go on. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
And because they're so well planned that anytime you throw some sort of a monkey wrench with John in there, it just takes everything sideways. He gets hold of their detonators so they can't blow things up as often, and he ends up finding out the entire roof is wired to blow, and that's what they need the detonators for. Mm-hmm. So that sets off a whole 15 minutes of them arguing about how to get the detonators back, and then a couple of different fights. The fact that I like how Bruce Willis is constantly talking to himself to let you know what he's thinking.
That's a nice way of doing exposition dump. That's my favorite way. That's one of my favorite ways of doing exposition dump. Plus, I mean, I know if I were in that situation, bitch, I'd be talking to myself all the time.
Yeah. I like when he's crawling through the vent and he pulls his lighter out and he's like, come to the coast, we'll have a few laughs, and now we're doing this.
This also gave us one of the most favorite quoted bits in cinema from 80s action films.
He's having a conversation with Hans over the radio, and Hans accuses him of being a John Wayne, Buck Rogers hero, and he goes, I was usually more partial to Roy Rogers, and then he says that famous line that everybody knows.
I might get flagged for language on this, but yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Or you could always throw the censored version in that came out when we were kids.
Oh, what was that one?
He says, yippee-ki-yay, melon farmer.
Oh, God.
And everybody just goes,
duh. But, cable TV had its standards. It has its standards. It's got its thing it needs to do.
Yay, standards and practices.
I also like the running gag of the picture of the topless woman, and he walks by it, like, by the second time, he's like, hi, girls. I'm of the opinion that this is a Christmas-adjacent movie. He's of the opinion
that it's a Christmas movie.
So, we meet halfway in between. We will watch it around Christmas.
I mean, I can cite a half a dozen reasons why I think it's a Christmas movie.
Okay.
He goes out to California for Christmas. It takes place on Christmas Eve. They're at a Christmas party. Somebody asks for a Christmas miracle. There's Santa hats involved, and somebody says, ho, ho, ho. That's a Christmas movie.
Okay, I don't think they quite mention Christmas enough, and Christmas isn't quite tied to it enough to make it a quintessential alt-Christmas movie. But I will say, this is one to watch during Christmas season. Can we agree on that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I have seen on, like, is it Etsy or was it Facebook advertising an Etsy site where someone had an advent calendar that was Hans Gruber sliding down, doing the free fall from the Nakatomi Tower. You moved him a floor every day closer to Christmas.
It's not a Christmas movie. It's not Christmas season until Hans Gruber falls off Nakatomi Tower.
Yep.
Spoiler alert, that's how the movie ends.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. I don't think any of them made it out alive except for Theo.
Theo made it out alive, but unconscious.
Thank you, Argyle. I will say the plan was pretty damn close to brilliant. Yeah. If you like Bruce Willis being quippy and action, early action Bruce Willis, you like Hans Gruber, Alan Rickman being Hans Gruber. Although the only thing that bothered me about his Hans Gruber, and I don't know how much of this was intentional or how much of this was just he couldn't carry it. He only had a light German accent at bits and pieces of time. He kept slipping back into his British. But one could argue that even if he was a German-born nationality, but was educated in London or something, he would slip back and forth between the two accents quite a bit. So like I said, I don't know how much of that was intentional or how much of that was Rickman being Rickman. It's so weird. It was so weird to see him as a young man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm so used to Sheriff of Nottingham and Snape era Metatron from Dogma, yes. I'm used to older Alan Rickman, so seeing him younger was a little bit jarring. It was nice, just a little jarring. He's not with us any longer, which is very sad.
It's already been 7 years.
I know. 7 years ago, we lost a master thespian. And Bruce Willis, I hear, isn't doing too well right now. So if you're the sending good vibes out or praying sort, maybe send a little bit of love his way. I know everyone's like, we've sent him our love we in the form of money over the years. Yeah, but I mean, 'tis the season for, good vibes and good faith, right? Be nice. Be nice to your fellow human beings. This spawned a franchise of 4 films?
5, I think.
5?
What is the last? It's Die Hard, Die Hard 2, Die Hard with a Vengeance, A Good Day to Die Hard, and Live Free or Die Hard.
Okay,
5.
so it's 5. I remember you and I went and watched the 4th one together.
Yeah.
That was an interesting one. We may talk about that sometime.
Later.
Yeah, if I do an Action April or something, maybe we'll talk about the entire series. But yeah, this one was early Bruce Willis action film. He was wiry. He wasn't like bulked up, but he was cut.
Kinda, yeah.
Which is, I think that's how I like my action heroes to be. Kind of. Highly recommend this one, especially if you are a late 80s, early 90s action fan. Especially if you're our age and you're just kind of going down the nostalgia trip. If you're a big Alan Rickman fan, definitely check this out. This is some of his earlier work that hit the States, if I remember correctly. You don't have to watch it for Christmas, but hell, I would suggest it. Put it on Christmas Eve while you're, getting ready for the fam to come over or something. Let that be the last thing you watch before you go to bed to unwind before dealing with Christmas morning.
Yeah.
But I think we pretty much hit it all, didn't we?
Yep, pretty much. Unless you want to point out a few funny little things you noticed in the movie.
Well, this isn't something I noticed in the movie, but I do know there's a tribute to this on an episode of Supernatural. I cannot remember the episode. I know it was, I think, the final season when God was being a dick. There's an episode that takes place in a high rise, and its name sounds very similar to Nakatomi Plaza, and that they did that because of this.
Yeah.
Everybody, yippee-ki-yay. I mean, we got ourselves slapped saying it as kids, but we said it.
Agent Johnson and Special Agent Johnson.
Oh, yes. We have 2 Johnsons. One's Robert Davi. I might go off on a tangent on Robert Davi if I don't stop now. Yeah, this one's got, like I said, a lot of recognizable stunt actors. Now, I know the difference between, and when I say stuntmen versus stunt actors, there are guys that are stuntmen, never utter a word, can double for 5 different people in a movie. Then there are stunt actors like Al Long, and some of the other guys in this, especially in this group, where they can deliver lines and sell a character. So, this is a recognizable group of stunt actors. So, on that note, I'm going to say go watch this. Hubby's going to say go watch this, right?
Absolutely.
And to those who celebrate, Merry Christmas. To those who are pagans, Happy Solstice. To everybody else, whatever holiday you celebrate, have a happy. Even if you're an atheist and just celebrate the I don't have to go to work holiday. But on that note, I'm going to say goodnight, my creeplings, and the Reading Rainbow salute. I'll see you next time.